Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Matt Jakes checking in with you. Hope you're doing well. I've got another quick hands-on lens review for you today. It's the Nikon 24-70 f2.8 Z-mount S-line lens. Let's take a look. Z7, Z6, and why won't it focus? Which is the, shit. All right, so for those of you who've been paying attention to Nikon's mirrorless world, you'll know that with their Z6, Z7, Z6, Z7, if you're in the States there or elsewhere around the world perhaps, they had a 24-70 f4 lens available right off the bat, and that was an f4. It was actually a kit lens, and that's how I picked mine up with my Z6. And let's just see if we can focus here. Yeah, so there it is. That's actually, it was a relatively, tiny, relatively light, but still solid feeling lens. One thing that wasn't so great about it, of course, kind of goes with the territory though, with your f4 or larger or smaller maximum aperture lenses, is you've got external zoom, which adds a little bit of risk for things like dust and water. But I've loved that lens so far. It's really sharp, and a little bit later on you'll know that they announced, and it's just kind of become a little bit more available for shipping and all that sort of stuff, is the 24-70 f2.8. Of course, in the f-mount world, that's kind of been the professionals' standard, kind of part of their holy trinity: 14-24, 24-70, 70-200. If you're a pro, you pick up those three lenses and you're kind of good to go and you're in business. So a lot of people would be curious, what's this f2.8 going to be like compared to the f4? What difference is it? And here it is. It's a significantly bigger lens, and it's, yeah, we're focused there. So it's a significantly bigger lens. I'll try to bring the f4 in there at the same time for you. Yeah, both lens hoods are on, but you can see that the f2.8, kind of the body alone, is almost as big as the whole f4 with the lens hood. Significantly bigger, significantly heavier, but you know that's what you're getting into with f2.8 glass. It has a couple of other things too. So it's got a little OLED display screen here, which can display things like your, I think it can display zoom, aperture, and also your depth of focus, which is kind of like an old school focus scale that would be on a lot of the older AIS lenses in Nikon's world, or their pre-AFS world too. They would kind of show you that if you're at a certain f-stop, here's what you can expect to be in focus at a certain f-stop. So that kind of helps you with landscape shooting. Can definitely come in handy. So we've got the OLED display there, and we've got the display button that kind of lets you pick and choose what information is going to be displayed on the screen. And we've also got a dedicated button to help you control the function ring at the back here. So that's a dedicated function ring versus the zoom and the focus. And so that's a third ring compared to the f4 lens, some more functionality in there. But you might have noticed there too, when I was zooming that, let's just try to keep this in focus, that we still have an externally focusing lens. That external focus mechanism is still in there. It's actually just a single element that protrudes, and I'm presuming it's a little bit better weather sealing than the f4, but still that's something that people might not have expected to see with a f2.8 Pro lens. Pros tend to expect people to take their lens anywhere and use it anywhere and shoot in all sorts of conditions and not worry so much about it. We'll kind of trust that Nikon did their job with the engineering on this one, but yeah. So far I haven't had a ton of opportunity to get out and shoot with this, but maybe I'll pop a couple of sample images up there. Definitely not a thorough review of the sharpness, but I was definitely impressed with what I was able to see so far. I know a lot of reviews online talk about the 2.8 being noticeably better than the f4, so I wasn't able to notice like a huge instant difference between the two, but I think a more thorough review might show that there's some merit there to the across the frame sharpness with the f2.8 that makes it worthwhile. And one other little kind of interesting thing I just wanted to point out to you, it's totally inconsequential for the lens or the performance perhaps, but it's kind of interesting that the lens hood on the f2.8 has got an interesting, I don't know if you can see it there in that shot, it's not just matte, which, a lot of lens hoods, or most of them, should be as matte as possible on the inside, but it's actually got a little bit of a felting or velvet on there really to presumably help with keeping that reflection free as much as possible. But interestingly, I don't know, for people who have pets or for dirt and stuff like that, that actually makes it a little bit harder to clean. I've got couple little pet hairs and stuff like that in there. So in theory, that could kind of backfire if you're not careful with that little felted lens hood on there. So interesting choice by Nikon there. But all right, so let's just take one more look with the lens hoods off. This time I've got the f2.8 on the left and the f4 on the right here. You can see the f4 definitely has size advantage and weight advantage as I'm holding it here. It's more compact, there's no doubt about that. Finally, your last consideration, besides all the physical stuff I've just shown you there too, is price. I mean, for a lot of people, that's an important question. And the f4 already is not a particularly cheap lens. So that Canadian dollars is about $1,300 Canadian. That's, you know, a little bit north of what a lot of people are used to spending on an f4 maximum aperture lens. The 2.8 comes in just under $3,000, so it's over twice as much for that one f-stop change, a little bit more functionality, perhaps a little bit more professional weather sealing and all that. I haven't had enough time to decide optically if it's worth it. I already love the image quality out of the f4, so I think for me this f2.8 is going to be a no, at least for the time being. The image quality from the f4 is more than good enough. I can't personally right now justify that f2.8. I think for people that need that extra shutter speed for if they're doing a lot of night photography, if you're hoping to use this for an astrophotography lens, perhaps the f2.8 would definitely be one to go to instead of the f4. There are lots of other choices on the market there though for astrophotography and night photography for less than $2,000, for less than $3,000. So it's a pricey lens, definitely an interesting proposition on the market there. Not a lot of people are necessarily going to pick this up, but I was happy to borrow it for a little while, get a chance to shoot it. So there you have it, a little quick hands-on with the Nikon 24-70 f2.8 Z-mount S-line lens. It's a beautiful lens. I wasn't able to put it through its full paces, so I'm not really calling this a full review by any stretch of the imagination. But at least on my first impression, image quality is great, but I can't really justify it over the f4, which already is incredibly sharp, virtually edge to edge for me. That does the job for me. But I hope you found that little hands-on useful. Definitely an interesting comparison between the two lenses there. And if this is the sort of thing you like, definitely hit the like button, hit subscribe, give a thumbs up, click the bell, do all those things with those things, and we'll see you next time.